What's going on YouTube? I appreciate you clicking on this video. This video is essentially just a tutorial for the Hoodies Mockups v.1. If you're a bit confused, make sure to just check the description down below. We recently released some digital products on the Saints Media website. So if you guys want to check that out, maybe you're interested, just give it a look. Tell me what you think and maybe check them out. So appreciate you. For those of you who need a bit of a tutorial and a bit of a kind of a walkthrough for it, that's what we're about to dive into right now. So let's get to it. So once you open up the file, you'll notice that we have it broken down into 3 different panels. You'll notice that at the top, it's essentially just me reiterating my thanks for picking up the mockup. So shout out to you. I really do appreciate you. But moving on from there, you'll notice that there is a color code section. Now that color code section is just to kind of help you get a bit of an idea of what to look out for when you're looking through the layers. So within that color code, you have red, orange, blue, green, and they mean don't delete, delete/replace, click into smart object, and edit directly. And that'll make more sense as you kind of go through the mockup. So if we were to click in the front hoodie part, you'll notice that those colors pop up and they're all labeled within the layers panel. Now again, if something is red, I would recommend not messing with it. But again, if you are experienced, then of course these are your files. At the end of the day, you're allowed to do whatever you want with them. If you want something that looks relatively similar to what we have once you open up the file, I recommend just not really messing with it. So right away, you'll notice that we have a few folders. The labels folder houses the neck tag. So if we click into that, because it is a smart object and it is labeled blue, so that kind of gives you a bit of a hint whether or not it is a smart object or not. For those of you who are a bit confused on what smart objects are, you can always Google it or YouTube search it as well, but kind of a quick little crash course. Essentially, they're just Photoshop files embedded within another Photoshop file. So you're able to make any tweaks to that specific Photoshop file, hit save, not save as, just the regular save button. From there, any changes that you make within that file will then update on the main Photoshop file. So let's use the neck label as an example. So we have it opened up here. Once again, anything that's red, we'll leave it alone. Anything that is orange, you're able to delete or replace it. So this is where you would replace your own logo if you're working on your own personal brand or maybe somebody else's. This is where maybe you can upload that, maybe if that's what you want to do. For the sake of the example, I'm just going to hide it, right? So it's just going to be a red label. And if I were to save that and we jump back to the main one, you'll notice very kind of small here, because again, it is a hoodie, so it kind of covers certain areas, but you'll notice that the logo is gone. If we come back to the neck tag and unhide it and then save it again, you'll notice that it pops up right in there. So essentially it's a nice kind of organized way of making changes to your document. After that, we do have hang tags as well. A lot of the same principles will apply pretty much throughout here. So we have the hang tag front, the back as well. The front of the hang tag is the one on the left and the back of the hang tag is the one on the right. Essentially see the final design of what your hoodie would look like if someone were to purchase it and they get it in the mail and it has everything really attached to it. So this is a good opportunity to kind of picture that in your head a little bit. With the hoodie, we do have the option of editing the drawstring colors. I know sometimes people like to customize the drawstrings within their hoodies, or maybe it's a different color than the actual hoodie itself. So we wanted to have that ability. Again, it is labeled as green, so you are able to directly edit it. So if we were to click on there, the properties for the hue/saturation will open up, and we can pretty much just mess with the hue of it to kind of get the color, mess with the saturation if we want to get more of a dull color or maybe a lot more of a saturated color, and then also the lightness if we want it to be a lot more brighter, darker, etc. So it has that flexibility kind of built into it. After that, of course, we do have the front design. So if we click into there, because it is a smart object, you'll notice that there are these guidelines in here. And this was just my attempt to kind of give you a rough sense of where things should go. So for the hoodie part, the lines within the middle are kind of my kind of interpretation of where the best area to kind of put a design on the upper chest area for a hoodie. So if you kind of place it right in that middle section, you'll essentially get a nice good placement for a logo that needs to be right in the center in the upper chest area. The line at the bottom is just to represent where pretty much the bottom of the hoodie is, and then the top being where the actual hood ends as well. So this is just to kind of give you a general sense so that hopefully you can kind of put it in and save it, and you'll pretty much get it roughly where you actually want it to be. And then of course you can always kind of go back and forth just a little bit, tweak it, and get it in the perfect spot. After that, we have the right sleeve, the left sleeve, and the hoodie pattern. What's cool about these these smart objects is that they're actually duplicated for the back of the hoodie. So if we were to actually make an adjustment on, let's say, the left sleeve, right? We have our signature motto, strive for perfection here, and you'll have noticed that it is actually on the hoodie, but you notice that it's actually kind of cropped off, and that's done on purpose because my thought process is I want the saying to be right on the middle of the hoodie so that if you were to look at me from the side, you'll see it nice and straight. But if you look at me from the front, technically some of it will kind of get cropped off, right? So what we went ahead and did is within that smart object, we have a center line going horizontally across. Now that line is supposed to represent the seam line that the hoodie would have right in the middle. So if you put any design that essentially crosses that line, it's going to get cropped off at the edge of the hoodie. Because it's cropped off on that end, if we were to actually click back in and look at the back of the hoodie, you'll notice that you'll see the opposite on the other side. And it makes sense, right? You would see one half of it from the front, and if you were to look at it from the back, you would see the other half of it, but in reverse. So we have that built in for the left sleeve, the right sleeve, and also the pattern as well. Any changes you make to those, they will automatically be duplicated and reversed for the back side, and vice versa. Finally, we have the ability to edit the color. Again, that is directly editable because it is labeled green. So we can click in and make it any color hoodie that we want. We just have to change the hue, the saturation, and the lightness. On the back of the hoodie, you'll notice that we do have the seam label. It is a smart object, of course, so you can click into there and edit it there. Anything that is red, I would recommend leaving. Anything that is orange, feel free to replace it with your own design, of course, or just completely delete it. Anything that is green, you can, of course, edit it directly. So within our branded labels for the seam, we have the ability to edit the stitch color that you would see on the outside perimeter of it. We also have, of course, the color of the label itself, and then you import your own design. And other than that, everything else is essentially the same. As stated, a lot of the smart objects here are linked on both sides, so any change that you make on one side will reflect the opposite on the other. And that's pretty much it. I hope this video helped. I hope they kind of gave you a bit of clarity and the organizational kind of setup that we have for this mock-up. Once again, shout out to you. I appreciate you checking out the collection, and for those of you watching who actually haven't quite yet, like I said, make sure to check the description down below to kind of check out the mock-ups. Let me know what you think, and if you do pick it up, make sure to let me know. So hope this helped. It's been myself, Steven, aka Scream, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out. Bye.